Hello to all Cinemaster lovers. Hope you enjoy watching. Let's get started. The series begins with a smuggler who helps three people cross into the US. Suddenly, he pulls out a weapon, threatening them and demanding their money or he'll kill them. Meanwhile, the smuggler notices a soldier approaching in the distance, thinking he's from the border guards, but the soldier quickly attacks the smuggler, biting into his flesh, revealing he's actually a zombie. Then, the story flashes back 2 days to an American military base. A doctor is conducting experiments to make soldiers stronger, giving them heightened abilities to defend the country. The doctor tests his formula on pigs, and during this time, Officer Murdoch arrives, informing the doctor that President Labsi is visiting the next day and expects results, urging him to speed up his work. Next, Lomas Prison, where the dangerous Mexican prisoner Alonso is celebrating his birthday, as it will be his last before being extradited to the US. The inmates hold him in high regard, but Alonso grows suspicious of a new officer he's never seen before. He asks the prison warden, his cousin named Contour, about him. Alonso fears this officer was sent by the Rosales gang to assassinate him, but the warden dismisses the idea, saying they wouldn't dare. Nonetheless, Alonso suspects Contour might betray him and side with the Rosales gang. Journalist Lilia, reporting on Alonso's life, stating he's the most dangerous drug dealer, arrested 4 years ago while dining at a restaurant. Rumor has it he continued his drug dealings from prison. Although Alonso remains private, it's revealed that his wife died of a rare illness, leaving him with a single child, about whom no one knows anything. The government has kept Alonso in Lomas Prison as it's inescapable. Officer Becerro was preparing the soldiers, telling them they would be escorting the most dangerous drug lord, Alonso, and they needed to stay vigilant as Alonso had escaped police multiple times. President Labsi arrived at the base, and Murdoch escorted her to the lab, where the doctor explained his new drug derived from ants, designed to eliminate pain and make soldiers highly aggressive. He tested it on a pig, but the pig died. Furious, Labsi gave Murdoch a week to fix the issue. The doctor tried again with another pig, which also died. Murdoch, frustrated, ordered his assistant Valencia to secretly dispose of the dead pigs in the desert. Valencia took them out, but one pig survived and escaped. Meanwhile, journalist Lilia decided to infiltrate the prison by pretending to be a visitor. She planted a toy gun in another visitor's bag to create a distraction, allowing her to enter quickly. She managed to sneak a visitor's pass and began recording. At the same time, the warden received a message from the Rosales gang, initiating their plan. He instructed the new officer to enter Alonso's cell and kill him, turning off the surveillance cameras. The officer fired at Alonso's bed, only to find it empty. Alonso had anticipated the trap. Alonso emerged from the bathroom, killed the officer, and escaped through a secret tunnel under the cell. Meanwhile, Becerro and his team arrived at Lomas Prison to transfer Alonso. They found the officer dead in Alonso's cell. At the same time, the disposed pigs in the forest came back to life, now wild and infected, attacking and eating a wolf. The infected pigs had become zombies. Becerro found the secret tunnel and insisted on going in with his team only, declaring Alonso now under his jurisdiction. The warden left angrily, seeing Lilia taking pictures and confiscated her camera, ejecting her from the prison. Alonso met with his gang, who helped him escape, and saw his son Lucas. However, Lucas was upset and refused to greet Alonso, accusing him of abandoning him. Alonso's gang planted a bomb in the tunnel as they left. Becerro's team entered, but one soldier triggered the bomb, causing an explosion without casualties. Meanwhile, the doctor reattempted the pig experiment, and this time the pig revived, attacked, and ate another pig. Realizing the drug needed modifications to prevent soldiers from becoming overly aggressive, he ordered Valencia to retrieve the pigs from the desert to avoid potential outbreaks. The infected pigs, however, had already reached the tunnel, attacking and biting Becerro and his team, turning them into zombies. After escaping the tunnel, Alonso and his team ran through the desert, searching for a safe place. Alonso eventually reached an old friend, Davila, who owned a drug rehabilitation center and had prepared a house for him. However, Lucas was frustrated and told Alonso that he didn't want to stay in this unknown place. He wanted to return to his school and see his friends. Meanwhile, Lilia reported Alonso's escape on the news, directly addressing him, saying that he once claimed no one understood him. She offered him a chance to share his story so all of Mexico could hear him. The doctor and Valencia returned to the desert to retrieve the pigs, spotting one coming toward them. Thinking it might be rabid, Valencia put on gloves and tried to approach it, but the pig attacked her. She managed to subdue it at the last moment, and they captured it in a bag. Reporters gathered outside Lomas Prison, including Lilia, The prison director had the foreign minister address the press, assuring them that they wouldn't rest until Alonso and his accomplices were captured. Lilia then questioned if rumors about prison guards aiding in the escape were true. The minister responded that anyone found helping Alonso would face severe punishment. The prison director watched the news when he received a call from the Rosales gang, reminding him that they had paid him to kill Alonso, which he failed to do. They gave him a 48-hour ultimatum to resolve the issue, warning that if he didn't, they would eliminate him. Meanwhile, Alonso confided in his friend Sierra, suspecting that his cousin Contour had allied with the Rosales gang to kill him. He expressed his concerns that they might have a backup plan and urged his friend to prepare for anything. Then, Detective Baffet, who goes to the prison to meet a prisoner named Romeo, an old friend of Alonso. Baffet asks Romeo to help him capture Alonso, promising to get him out of prison in return. Romeo agrees. Meanwhile, Lilia gathers her belongings, planning to leave the city, but Contour's men approach her, saying the director wants to see her. She meets with Contour, who offers her $2 million in exchange for her help in capturing Alonso. Lilia refuses, preferring death over a deal with him. Contour then threatens her, saying if she doesn't cooperate, she'll be arrested, and it will take 6 months for her lawyers to free her, ruining her reputation. Lilia is forced to agree, and she leaves in her car, realizing a car is following her. She heads to a public pool, hides in the women's bathroom, and waits. Back at the lab, Valencia locks the pig they brought from the desert in a cage. A soldier named Thompson playfully sticks his finger in the cage, and the pig bites him, showing aggressive behavior. The doctor quickly restrains the pig, realizing it's become rabid, and decides to use this opportunity to experiment further on it. Alonso, watching the news, sees Lilia's statement and asks Lucas if he thinks she's sincere. Lucas agrees, and Alonso contacts her, saying he has never trusted a journalist, but she seems different. He offers to meet her face to face. He then gifts Lucas a small drone, instructing him not to fly it past the fence. Lucas is thrilled and tests it out, but the drone goes too far, and he heads into the desert to retrieve it. Meanwhile, a smuggler is leading 2 men and a pregnant woman into the US. Suddenly, he pulls out a gun, demanding money from them or he'll kill them. At that moment, the smuggler spots what he thinks is a border patrol soldier, but it's actually a zombie soldier. The smuggler shoots at it, but the zombie attacks him. The others flee, but the zombies bite the smuggler. Back with Alonso's men, Plutus, who turns out to be a traitor working with the Rosales gang. He writes them a message and attaches it to a pigeon, but Alonso quickly shoots the pigeon before it can fly away. Plutus tries to shoot Alonso, injuring him lightly, and flees. Alonso orders his men to find Plutus, offering a reward to whoever kills him. Plutus manages to reach the tunnel Alonso used to escape. He continues walking through it until he encounters zombies who kill him. Meanwhile, Lucas stands in the middle of the desert, unaware of the danger around him. Suddenly, the smuggler, now a zombie, appeared. Lucas noticed the strange sound he was making and ran quickly, but the smuggler chased him. Just as the smuggler was about to catch Lucas, Piero showed up, shot the smuggler, and saved Lucas. However, the smuggler didn't die and came back to life, attacking Piero. Despite Piero's efforts to fight back, the smuggler bit him. Before he started transforming into a zombie, Piero told Lucas to run away quickly, realizing the truth of the situation. Meanwhile, Alonso was searching for Lucas in the desert. Lucas ran to him and took him to where Piero was lying. When Alonso saw Piero, he told Lucas they needed to leave immediately because it wasn't safe there. But Lucas, saddened by Piero's fate, insisted on staying to prevent the wolves from getting to him. Alonso got angry and yelled at Lucas, who begged him to at least let him close Piero's eyes. Alonso agreed, but as Lucas moved closer to Piero to close his eyes, Piero suddenly came back to life and attacked Lucas. Alonso quickly shot and killed Piero, suspecting he was a traitor working with the Rosales gang. Lucas defended Piero, explaining that he had saved his life from a savage man who later attacked Piero and bit him, which is why Piero transformed. Despite Lucas's words, Alonso remained skeptical. Meanwhile, Detective Baffet took Romeo with him, and Romeo led him to the rehabilitation center where Alonso was hiding. However, Baffet realized the location was too far to reach by car, so he decided to use a helicopter. At the same time, Lilia, disguised as a nun, went to the airport, planning to travel to America to meet Alonso. Contour was tracking her, following her into the airport and trying to harass her. Lilia reported him to the guards, who escorted him out of the airport. In another part of the story, Dr. Murdoch reported that Thompson's response to commands was improving, and he might become the ideal soldier who follows orders without question. To test this, Murdoch ordered Thompson to move his hand, but Thompson didn't comply. Frustrated, Murdoch used electric shocks to make him obey. He then gave Thompson a small ball, ordering him to tear it apart. Thompson complied, breaking his restraints, and then attacked Murdoch. Valencia shot Thompson to stop him, which angered the doctor, as Thompson was his only human test subject. Lilia eventually arrived in Texas, where Davila picked her up and began driving her to the rehabilitation center to meet Alonzo. However, one of Contour's men was tailing them. Noticing this, Davila dropped Lilia off and instructed her to act as if she were dead, then drove off. When Contour's man arrived, Davila rammed his car, causing it to flip. He approached the overturned car and asked Lilia about him, to which she replied that he was working for Contour. Davila then killed Contour's man. At night, Lucas saw someone approaching the house. He grabbed his father's gun and went outside, intending to shoot. However, he heard the stranger's voice and quickly retreated. It turned out the stranger was Piero, who, recalling his memories with Lucas, attempted to end his life to avoid harming anyone. Meanwhile, Sarah and Flack were driving through the desert when they spotted something strange and fast-moving, which confirmed Lucas's earlier warnings about potential creatures in the desert. Murdoch then sent Valencia into the desert with 2 soldiers to capture some immigrants for experiments. Upon encountering 3 travelers, the soldiers exited the vehicle to apprehend them, but the travelers immediately fled. Returning to their vehicle to pursue them, they accidentally collided with a zombie. As they investigated the scene, the zombie attacked and bit the soldiers. Valencia tried to shoot the zombie, but quickly retreated to the car upon seeing it devouring a soldier. At the same time, Davila's car broke down in the middle of the road, forcing him and Lilia to continue on foot. A man offered them a ride, and they accepted. Back in the lab, Murdoch examined Thompson's body and was shocked to find he had developed 2 hearts due to the boar bite he had sustained. The next day, while Sarah and Flack were on the same road, Piero suddenly attacked Flack and bit him. Sarah tried to help but couldn't fend him off. Piero then turned his attention to Sarah, but a car arrived just in time, with a shooter firing and taking out part of Piero's head. They tied Piero up, put him in the car, and brought him back. Alonzo ordered them to tie him up in the stable. Lucas tried to convince Alonzo that Piero wasn't a traitor but had only been bitten by a monster. Meanwhile, Baffet managed to secure a helicopter to reach Alonzo's location as quickly as possible. Valencia reported to Murdoch, recounting the encounter with the zombie and realizing that the infected soldiers were in the same condition as Thompson. Shocked, Murdoch understood the gravity of the contamination he had caused. Murdoch insisted they had to contain the infection before it spread worldwide. He ordered Valencia to mobilize the soldiers. However, the doctor, driven by his desire to achieve a major scientific breakthrough, demanded human samples, threatening to expose their entire plan if his request wasn't met. Murdoch reluctantly agreed to the doctor's demand. Lucas, he approached Piero and told him that everyone believed he was a traitor and wanted to kill him. Lucas urged him to show them he wasn't a traitor, but rather trapped inside this monstrous form. At that moment, Piero leaned toward Lucas, seemingly about to attack, but Lucas quickly escaped. He then went to his father, pleading that Piero shouldn't be tied up like an animal because he was still human and needed help. Alonzo responded that they didn't understand enough about what was happening to Piero to help him, and that killing him might be the only solution. Frustrated, Lucas replied, "So, just like with Mom when she was suffering, killing is always the easiest solution." Meanwhile, Davila and Lilia approached Alonzo's hideout. Suddenly, they were attacked by Flaccus, the man driving them, who had turned into a zombie and bit Davila. Lilia started driving frantically, but they crashed into a rock. Davila quickly got out, with Flaccus chasing him. Lilia grabbed a gun and fired multiple rounds, killing Flaccus. Alonzo soon arrived and brought them to the house, where Davila began treating Alonzo's injury. Lilia, confused and shaken, asked who the man was and why he had turned into a cannibal. Alonzo explained that this was all part of the gang, the messengers scheme. Then, Lucas returned and showed Lilia his sketch of Piero, explaining that it was like a rabies disease transmitted through bites. At the same time, Valencia and Murdoch saw these zombie-like creatures in the desert. Dr. Murdoch joined them, and upon seeing the soldier who had come with Valencia the previous night, he noted that the soldier hadn't been bitten by a zombie, but was actually shot. Furious, Murdoch confronted Valencia, who explained they were ambushed, and she had fallen, firing wildly in panic. Murdoch reminded her that her actions would have legal consequences. Back with Lucas, he pulled out an old gaming device he used to play with Piero, hoping it would help Piero remember their past. He handed it to Piero, but instead, Piero smashed it, broke free of his restraints, and attempted to attack Lucas. At the last moment, Lucas pulled out a gun and shot Piero, killing him. Alonzo, hearing the gunshot, rushed over to check on his son. Suddenly, they saw a helicopter approaching, so they quickly returned to the house. Baffet, on the helicopter, was excited to finally locate Alonzo. However, a nearby zombie noticed the aircraft, picked up a large rock, and threw it at the helicopter. The impact caused the helicopter to lose control and crash into the rehabilitation center. Then, A crowd of zombies gathered near the house, starting to scream, and Alonzo and the others heard them. They quickly prepared their weapons as the zombies broke through the fence surrounding the house. Alonzo's group stepped outside to fight them off. At the same time, Afed and Romeo woke up and exited the helicopter, but the zombies attacked them, and they struggled to fight them off. Meanwhile, Manda entered the house and went to Lucas's room, where Alonzo was hiding among the toys. When he turned around, he pulled out a weapon and started shooting, but she was unharmed. She attacked him and began to choke him. Lucas tried to save him and started firing at her. Just then, a zombie entered through the balcony and Lucas quickly ran out of the room and shut the door. The zombie broke through and began to chase Lucas. Lilia, seeing the zombie, hit it with her weapon, and just then Alonzo arrived and helped them escape quietly. Suddenly, another zombie attacked Alonzo, trying to bite him, but at the last moment, Lilia struck it down. Soon, Romeo and Bafe entered the house. Romeo approached the room where Alonzo was, and when Lucas saw him, he ran over and hugged him, revealing that Romeo was Lucas's uncle. At that moment, Baffett entered, pointing a weapon at them. Suddenly, a zombie attacked Baffett from behind, but Alonzo quickly killed it. Lilia, unnoticed by anyone, started recording everything and said, "Let's put our problems aside for now and find a way to escape from these monsters." Suddenly, Murdoch and the soldiers drove into the area, surrounding them. A soldier from their team arrived, but he had turned into a zombie. Valencia started firing at him, along with the soldiers, but Murdoch ordered them to stop shooting, though they didn't listen. Meanwhile, Davila mentioned he was injured in the leg. Alonzo told him to come with them to escape, but Sarah said, "I can't walk. You all go. I'll stay here. If the police find me, I'll take care of myself before they take me away." Valencia told him that if he stayed there, they would all stay with him. Sarah confessed, "I wanted to be the leader in your place all these years, but you never gave me the chance. When you went to prison, I thought I'd finally get my chance to be the leader, but that never happened. You remained the leader, even in prison, while I was working with the messengers all this time to try to kill you, but I didn't do it even though I had the opportunity. If I had killed you in the middle of all this chaos, no one would have suspected me." Valencia told him, "Now you have two choices. I can leave you here, or I can kill you." Sarah replied, "Kill me if you want," but Alonzo decided to let him live and took them to escape through the back door. There, he told Baffett to stay behind, and they would confront each other later. The zombies then descended from the building, surrendering themselves to the police and calling out Alonzo's name. They threw smoke bombs, creating a diversion as they escaped, while the doctor was upset because he wanted to capture them for his experiments. At that moment, Alonzo and the others reached the tunnel and all entered. When Alonzo descended into the tunnel, one of the zombies bit him on the arm, but he struck it down with his weapon. He then went down into the tunnel and shut the door behind him. He thanked Lilia for saving his son, and they continued on their path to escape the tunnel and return to Mexico. However, halfway through the tunnel, they encountered a pig that had turned into a zombie. Knowing it was there, they decided to press on, determined to escape and not return to prison again. If you liked the video, subscribe to the channel and activate the notification button to get more new videos. See ya!